Welcome to Pirate Radio this evening, guys. I'm Greg, and joining me as usual is Cadus and Zavi, of course, Commander X. And joining us later on will be DJC and cbear for our ESEA preview. Of course, the ESEA LAN is happening next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, but we'll go into that in more depth later on. For now, we'll stick over chatting about the European scene. Of course, some of the gossip this week, not really the biggest gossip, but there is some floating about. We'll start off with TCM. The other day, Byte did a like soldier like talk through or whatever, and in the middle of it comes up Zebasai PMing Byte saying, "What's this? Himsy's leaving." Like so. So apparently,
Zebasai at the time, he had no idea, and I'm just like, "So what do you think we're gonna do?" And Himsy's gone. He's like, "What?"
So yeah, that was quite an interesting way for that bit of gossip to come out. Obviously, then Cadus told us as well. So basically, Himsy isn't available for the I-46 LAN weekend. He's got some family thing. Do you know anything more about it than that, Cadus?
In Himsy's words, I would go, but there is a little bit more to it than just that, referring to the family event. So I'm not sure exactly what it is, but he seems unwilling to go into details, so I'm going to assume it's quite personal and just leave it at that for him. But it's a bummer, right?
Yeah, fair enough. So that means that the scout you've stuck with all season now can't attend to the event. So is he leaving completely, or is it just that event? So you'll get someone in to replace him for the event?
Well, the only thing we're going to be practicing for is I-46, like after the playoffs. I think he's going to do playoffs with us.
Okay.
We had like a little internal discussion about whether to just say fuck the playoffs and just start practicing with someone else, or whether to just like try and get something good done in the playoffs and build from that with a new player. It looks like we're going to stick with Himsy for the playoffs and then go on to try one of the obvious solutions after that.
Yeah, so obviously I've already been approached, so pretty obvious right there what's going to happen. Obviously, yeah, we'll talk about some of the other people. Bash, Bibbin, we've got written down here. I don't know if there's anything more. Zabby, do you have any ideas about what TCM are going to do as a replacement?
No. Well, if we're going to stick with Himsy for now, that'll keep them going. But I don't know, it depends who's available, really, isn't it? Because they have to, obviously, if they're not I-46able, there's no point. And number of Prem available scouts going to I-46, I imagine, isn't.
Well, keep in mind
the
that they're
tens
going
of thousands.
Well, keep in mind anyone who can actually is free that weekend can go, because it's not like they have to pay for it.
The CGM covering everything then.
Everything, including
that. That's what I was going to bring up. Like, is it definitely TCM will provide for this new player? Are they happy to? Okay.
Go play at bed and everything.
Perfect. So exactly about the same as what the Americans are going to be getting then.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, well, unless you guys have anything more you think you need to add to this, should we maybe go into some of the players possibly that you go for? Zabi, do you reckon? Oh, sorry, Kate, let's go.
I was just saying I'm not going to lay down any specifics, but it's not hard to guess who we're going to try. There's not, even with the funding, there's not that many options. Like, I'm not going to, betray my team.
Havoc!
Dramatic shit. Yeah, Havoc messaged me today.
Havoc's available.
Asking for a fucking trial.
Yeah, I told him. I pointed him your direction, Cadus. He messaged me.
I was going to say it was a bit of a coincidence. Like, he seems to message me about, I'd say every 6 months or so, he just messages me asking for a trial to whatever team I happen to be on at the time. He was asking me to cut hat about 1,000 times in Eurotech. I was just like, no, bro. But yeah.
He does this every 3 months, almost on the dot. He just messages me out of nowhere after talking to him a couple months and goes, "What teams need a scout?"
Whenever his CS team falls.
Yeah. Need something to do for a couple of weeks.
Okay, so Zabby, who you gonna reckon they're gonna go with?
I reckon they're gonna go with Bibbin, because Byte's a sucker for nostalgia.
Okay, I think it does kind of depend on who Finland are going to play as their second scout, I reckon. I guess actually Rebellion Cookie, so maybe not. Just trying to work out who's going to be playing for Nations Cup, you see, because those players are already going to be playing, they're going to want to practice anyway. They might as well, if they're available that weekend, keep playing. So, like Bash should probably be the top choice, I'd have thought, from that, in my point of view. Going to I-46, don't know.
I'm so confused.
I have absolutely no idea what you're on about, but you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah, I'm wrong, am I?
I
I
don't
meant
even know what
like
you said. I can't even
that-
comment. I'm not gonna lie.
with the Nations Cup happening after this, right? So
Yeah.
players are going to be playing for that.
No, they won't.
Most likely, players are going to be coming back for the Nations Cup, or some players.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Ah.
So players that are
No,
going to be
we
playing
already
in the
have
Nations
one of
Cup will be.
them, and the other will be Cookie. So
Yeah, that's. I then said took back my word. when I
yeah,
said,
we'll
"Oh,
take
it's
Cookie.
already-"
Yeah, Cookie.
Yeah, of course. So
I'm
that's why I
over
said. That's why I went. Oh, hang on a minute. No, I'm wrong. And probably pick up Bash from Germany, obviously. That's what I think anyway. Fuck you, Cadus. Right, let's talk about something else anyway. Let's go QN. So, okay, Xavi, why don't you go into the QN news?
Nutson's being not really kicked, is it? He's just. I think it's like a mutual. Nutson can't play past. Is it 9:30 CET? So they have to play the Merc Soldier all the time. So basically, they're replacing him. And the only soldier I know that's trialing is Klar from Too Strong fame.
So obviously your team is trialing a lot of soldiers at the moment. Is none of them trialing for Too Strong? Oh, sorry, not for Too Strong, for Quarantine.
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Okay. All right. So because I would assume they would try, the Wolf or Loser or something. I guess Loser can't play roaming, can he? So, I don't know. Are there any other options that maybe they'll pick up? Cadus, do you have any ideas?
Well, I don't think so. Like, I mean, there's plenty of people they could try that are probably about as good as Klar, but for some reason they're really keen on trying Klar. Like, from West speaking to one of them. And I'd just like to add, it's about fucking time that they got rid of this guy. Like how fucking long has it been that they've just been playing with a Merc like every fucking night?
Christmas. Since
Like,
Christmas started.
There's literally probably I think there's like 2 players in their team that are actually okay with it. They just like everyone else.
And
is
one
so
of them's
passive.
Barabar.
Yeah.
He gets
Like, yeah. Like,
Sorry, Cadus, keep
I
going.
was just gonna say, like, they're all so passive, no one could be bothered to speak up. But I know there was like, I mean, they keep losing players and replacing players because of it, and then they get new players in who don't like it, but they just kind of, like Boomy, like he doesn't like it, but he's too like, he's a nice guy. He's not gonna say anything about it. It's weird, like, because apparently, like, he actually quit for Tribes, so now it's gonna be a Tribes team that he's gonna be pissing off every night. But I don't know, too nice guys.
I think he's one of the best players in Tribes or some shit, from what I've heard.
Because that's
Is he as good as MVC?
Better than MVC, mate.
Wow.
any computer.
Wow.
But then I've heard it from MVC, and there are a lot of scouts that he gets annoyed at, aren't there, in TF2, so...
All of them.
This fucking Josu guy is just too good. He's clearly hacking.
He just runs at me. He's not even smart. He just runs at me.
Well, I'd say thank God they didn't recruit Barabar as their main soldier. I just have to put that out right now. I'd rather them, look for someone else than...
I wonder what
than
he's
Barabar
thinking at the moment.
back
He must have thought this was his big shot. And they're finally getting rid of this guy. I've played with them all this time. Surely they'll ask me, right?
Is he not even getting like a look at it at all? I mean, not even being
Don't think
polite
they
enough
even,
to go. Not even
even
nice enough
think-
to go.
Didn't
Go
even
on, you
think
can
about
have a
it.
go. That's pretty hard.
All right. Yeah, so if they're only looking really at Clara at the moment, I guess if he fits for their team, they'll just pick him up. And there's a lot of time from now until the next season. I think, actually having said that, I think they're going to I-46
Yeah,
from what I've heard.
the reason they're mainly looking at Clara is because he can fund his way to I-46, because obviously they're all going to be self-funding to LAN, and they want to play, like, now with the soldier they're going to have at LAN, so, I mean, there's lots of soldiers, I guess, around at the moment, like, what is it, from Too Strong, like, Luzu, I guess, actually, I didn't even think about Luzu. But I'm like, like Trax and Wolf and those kind of people that were in Too Strong and then kind of stuck around after the fallout. Like, they could, in theory, like, try any of them, but I don't think they can find their way, so Klar, even though he's, like, brain dead, is probably the best option.
I've just got a PM from someone saying, or from Zebasai, saying that get Tavik to go over there and play Soldier for QN instead.
Well,
But-
they had the chance to take him before.
Did they?
They did, yeah. Like, before he joined Justice, like, that was when they took Boomy. And, like,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I know Boomy's probably better than Tvick, but they needed a roamer, so, like, if they were going to take Tvick, they would have taken him then. Like, now, like, they need a roamer again, but it's like, if you're going to take Tvick, why wouldn't you have taken him before? And plus, I don't think Tvick can go to LAN anyway. His parents won't let him because he's, like, 12.
Oh, really? Well, apparently they've asked Tavik if he wants to join, so it's down to Tavik, so...
Oh, that's not very nice.
That's what I'm being told. So there you go. Make up your mind, and then Clara will be in, I guess. If not, let's move on to the next bit of news. That's pretty much the team news. We're now moving on toward. Actually, let's talk about some of the Nations Cup stuff that's coming up. Obviously, Nations Cup's starting pretty soon, and some of the teams are starting to get together. Obviously, early in the week we had the like Team England versus Team Germany game. Although Germany like had like two of the actual players they would play on their roster or something. They like just played with a pretty much mixed team. Xavi wanted to talk about the England scouts, and as we're all English, I thought it'd be pretty
I was
cool
gonna
to talk about the
say,
English team.
didn't England have some like completely unknown scrub on scout as well as Stark?
And yeah, I was about to say as well as
I was
Stark.
gonna
Fuck
say
you, Dick.
that.
So yeah, so Joey C doesn't really want to play. I think doesn't want to burn himself out. I think he wants to play, but he doesn't want to play too much TF2 and not want to play, and get bored of it completely. So we looked around through some of the Div 1 teams and played with Stark. He seemed pretty decent. And other than that, trying Gubbins. And that's pretty much it from the UK team. Do you guys want to know anything about any of the other teams that are going on at the moment? Like, because obviously it's a couple of weeks till Nations Cup starts. Teams have started to form now. Do you know anything? Yes, no, maybe.
What about all of the teams? You're like asking for any
team.
information about any of the 30
team. Go
teams
for it.
taking part.
Who's coming back for Finland then? Do you know anything about that?
It's going to be Dan and Hawks on Soldier, and I think it will be. I'm not sure about now. They'll probably use Himsy still because I think Himsy can still play like in the meantime. So I guess a Himsy and Cookie. I think it's basically going to be old power plus Dan, but whether it will be Kynal or Dead Jackal remains to be seen. I think is the only real question. Like, I mean, I saw Mafu playing, and I can't think of a single Finnish demo man, even though Mafu's fucking horrible. Like, I can't think of a single Finnish demo man that would actually be willing to come back.
Yeah, I think Jackal's around at the moment. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be playing. And as you say, after you say Mafu, I remember seeing him on a Source TV the other day chatting about it a little bit. So I think those two, it sounds pretty much like the old power.
Like the only other demo I could think of is Himsy, but A, I don't think he'd want to, and B, they couldn't use. Well, actually, they could use Himsy because Himsy is leaving TCM technically. I was going to say they couldn't use Rebellia as well as Himsy and Hawks because of the. Oh wait, no, that's 3. Bad maths. Carry on, ladies.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think they might be upping it to 4 as well for this tournament, just so like Israel can
Have
play
they not
with a lot of
decided
players.
yet? Like, I mean, it's
No.
been like 3 months since they announced it. You might think.
ESEA are still umming and ahhing between the 3 or 4. It's a big decision, obviously.
It's most basic of.
There's like an admin thread for it, and then there's a Nations Cup captains thread, so the captains can talk about some of the rules and put some input into it. And obviously, the teams that want 4 are the teams that are posting in the thread because they're like, oh, we want 4, and they're the people that are pushing it. The people that don't need 4 don't really care and aren't posting in the thread either.
Is anyone against 4? Does anyone actually care if 4 players from the same team were to play?
I just think that makes it such a majority of a team. In the same way as this next thing we're going to talk about how you can't use 3 mercs. You have to have 4 from your team because it's like a majority of your team. That is pretty much, that's what makes the team, is having at least over half of the team there, if you see what I mean by that. And like if you come to Nations Cup, like the whole point of it is to like divert the teams, completely split them apart and not let everybody play together. And having over half of the players in a team kind of just makes it that team just a few mercs, plus a few mercs. So it does make a difference.
But there's the lower side of things, when, for example, like some teams, like I'm thinking like Italy and other countries like that, where their national team is basically, there's only one team even close to good enough to like be
from what I think they might be looking at is the teams that are below Div 1 will be able to have more than 3, like have 6 from a team. Meanwhile, the teams in Div 1 and Prem can only have the limit. That way, so some of these teams that might not actually field a full side unless they get more allocated players can still compete. Exactly. And I think you have to talk to the admins to be able to do that, but that's pretty much what it's gonna go down. Like,
surely
really.
It's not even going to make that much difference. I mean, Crack Clan are the only team I can think of that it was actually going to affect. Because, like, well, I guess Punchline too, but like, if you take Infuse, I mean, they have, 4 UK players, and one of them's fucking horrible, so they're only going to take 3 anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
It's pretty much, isn't it 5 UK players?
Mike's English.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Mike's Welsh even.
Yeah.
Sorry, 3 English players.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 English players, one of them's horrible, so I don't see why it makes any difference for them. I mean, if it was Team UK... Yeah, it's not my forte.
All right. Well, why don't we keep moving on? We want to get onto the ESEA stuff, so worth just talking about that, and we'll come to it really after the playoffs are finished. So what's the next? Zavi, do you want to go through some of the results then, and then we'll talk
Yes, but
about the Certo punchline stuff afterwards, okay?
okay,
Or do
okay.
you want to do the Certo punchline stuff first?
Let's do TCM Epsilon first. It's TCM beat Epsilon. They got a default on gravel pit because there was Epsilon had no time to play it basically in the catch-up week because they played the final beforehand. Went 3 maps, and they won Badlands on the Golden Cap.
Yeah.
Nice one, Jason.
Oh, thank you. It means a
Did
lot.
they play with Extrema?
Yeah, you
got carried to fuck by Darn, didn't you?
No.
Is that the game Darn played?
He did play indeed.
So he carried you.
He held his weight. Cadus was sick.
he put in a good shift. Good shift for the lads. I wouldn't say carried, you know, it's just good all round team performance. Did our best, held hands.
He top fragged Cadus.
He joint top fragged DJC. With yours truly.
If Semasai had been playing, would you have lost?
Almost definitely. No.
All right. Pretty good result from your point of view. That guaranteed you getting the 3rd position, didn't that?
Yeah, and there was nothing the TF2 admins could do about it. So they tried.
Yeah, they did their best. Right. Go on, Zavi, keep going through the results.
Let's go into leg 1 of Infused versus Epsilon, which was the Excello Zowie final from about a month ago, where Infused won 6-5 on Badlands, then lost Snake Water 2-3, and then won 6-4 on Gully Wash.
Is that the game where Dunk couldn't play and Infused were looking for a medic? And
this is where Ben Crazy played, and Infused managed to continually win pushes, even though he dropped Uber. Like, he would drop Uber, but Infused would wipe Epsilon anyway, and you'd just be sitting there going, how? What? None of it makes any sense.
I think what I've discussed with a few people is they're quite used to having Dunk drop Uber. That they're normally used to that and have to practice that way all the time anyway. So pretty much what it was. But I heard that Infused asked Shintaz to play, right? And Shintaz was happy to play, but Epsilon, the team he's going to be playing for, I-46, denied him playing. They wouldn't let him play for Infused as medic.
Basically, 2 maps in, goes to the 3rd map on Gully Wash, and then Ben's internet just dies, like friggin' power off, power cut or something. No one can get in contact with him. So they basically start looking for a medic, and they're PMing everyone. They were asking for ages. They were like asking if Boomy could play or whatever. They asked if Shintaz could play, and Epsilon denied it.
Put it into context.
If you could play Commander X?
Everyone except me was asked.
They for a second, Numlock seriously considered using me. I said, I'll do it, and he says, get in Mumble, and then he goes, wait. He like legit considered it for a moment. It sums up how desperate they were, I think.
Hey, well, they got to Jacqueline, who was absolutely sick from what I heard. So, the Jackal is a better medic than Shintaz. Like, it's really weird that Epsilon would deny Shintaz and let the Jackal play, but oh well, that's what happened. And Infused won. They won without Dunk playing. I'm just hasten to add there. And obviously, the next game, the day after they played, Zavi, do you want to go into the result for the next Infused Epsilon game?
The Velociraptor one.
No, yeah. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. The second one of the week.
Yeah, the Velociraptor one.
The Velociraptor one, where Epsilon won. I've not seen it yet, but they won Badlands 5-3 and Snakewater 6-1. And from what I hear, Infused were shocking.
They were awful.
Yeah.
Even Cookie looked mediocre. He didn't look bad, but he still looked mediocre, which pretty much sums up their day.
Below par shift.
They didn't have their usual carry, and then they lost. Pretty much how it worked, I guess.
Yeah, Numnot was like horribly underperforming that day as well, I thought, anyway.
So just a general, complete team-wise underperformance there.
Like watching it, I didn't really notice. I don't know. I didn't watch it that intently, so I'm not gonna like put my head on the line on this one. But from what I saw, it looked a lot more like Infused underperforming than Epsilon suddenly having turned it around in a day.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, I know Epsilon were looking for the Source TVs from the first game, the one they lost. So they're definitely still looking at trying to improve their game. I know that much. It's not like, oh, magically one day later we're better. Congratulations to them.
We won a cup.
Yeah, so Infused won mouse pads. Epsilon
Nice.
won hard drives and €250. I think that's what's right. And then there's another game coming up which is for €750. Is that right? Does anyone know?
Yeah, let's just go with yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, that sounds
Sure.
about
We sound more informed if we just say yes. No one's going to check.
right. And there was another Infused Epsilon game. Zavi, we're going to go into that as well.
Yes, it was an ETF2L, and they drew, and no, not drew. They took a map each, basically. Infused won a golden cap on Cully Wash, and then lost Obscure.
Did
So Epsilon won.
Did you see the YouTube clip of that Obscure game?
What with Mike getting raped?
Yeah, that happened in the
I've
last
not
like
seen what
50
happened.
seconds of the game. Basically, they're on Obscure last, right? And Epsilon fail their push, come back out, and F2 runs in bottom right alone, and Infused have tried to push out into lobby. Mike's the only one left on last, and F2 out DMs Mike on last point and caps it.
Mike on full health.
Yeah, completely full health,
It's good-
completely,
it's good as,
completely
yeah.
out DM'd.
He just lost a one-on-one. Obviously, F2's just going. There's no time left.
He bottled it,
One-
mate. He fucking
one-
bottled it.
MGE superstar can't hit a medic.
Yeah, and then Infused changed the map, right? So no one actually got to see it.
Yeah, I saw Extreme uploaded his point of view. If anyone
Fucking
was
bite.
I think it was Numbok's fault this time.
We
Yeah,
lost
so-
Greg. We're completely directionless.
Sorry, yeah,
Get us
I was chatting to right. So that actually meant that Obscure was lost. So that's what was it, 4-2 in the end to Epsilon? Is that right?
3-2.
No, I mean 4-2 in ETF2L points. Sorry.
Yeah.
And
To Epsilon.
Correct.
So they took the first seed because of that. I don't know how many. I think by a single point.
1 point clear. Yeah.
Yeah. So Infused had to win just one map to stay first, and unfortunately didn't. So Epsilon did just what they needed to do to get that first seed, which means they play one less game later on in the playoffs. But we'll talk about the playoffs a little bit later. About 5 minutes time or so. What other games happened this week? Do you want to talk about this?
Just to make a point of it. Does that mean that Infused won out of 3 games, 2 with Dunk, 1 without? They won 1 with Dunk, without Dunk, and lost 2 with Dunk.
Yes, but one of them was technically a draw because it was a golden cap win.
Yeah, except that it was a loss because it was 4-2.
Yeah, ETF 12 points. It was a loss. Yeah, exactly. And they played 4 maps with Dunk and 3 maps without, and 1-2 without him, and 1-1 with him in 4 maps.
Oh dear.
Right. So anyway, let's move on to the next game that's happened this week, and I think there's only one more left that happened this week. Savvy, is
Yeah.
that right? Do you want to go into
Soto
that?
versus Punchline. Woo! Basically, it was played out, and I think teams won a map each. Everyone was happy, having a nice time. And then the admins gave Punchline the default win because the Soto used 3 marks.
Yeah. It's just like a massive shitstorm's been blown up for this. That is just really, really strange. Like, Deserto were just playing the games out, and you've played, you're done with the season. It doesn't really matter what the result was, does it? Why have they chased it so hard to try and revert this decision?
That did actually put Deserto above Quarantine, aka not last in ETF 12 Prem.
Does it matter in the grand scheme of things though? Because are they going to use that position? Isn't it better off that Quarantine, who are going to play the next season, stay in Prem rather than force them to play?
Deserto could quite easily do it if they wanted, couldn't they?
I don't know what the rule is about them keeping like
Well,
a Prem spot if they
The
change what they play.
hijack rule would come into
Well,
Yeah.
no, because the hijack rules, it's more of a guideline than a rule. It's like you can't just change your fucking roster as you please. It's like I think that really it's more like you have to speak to the admins and be like, "Yo, our
Is this
team
okay?"
had some problems, but we're going to keep it going. Like it's going to be the same standard of team. We're just going to have to get new faces in. Is this okay?" And like I think 99% of the time, retarded as the admin team may be, they do actually say yes in those kind of situations. Especially since, I mean, I don't know how it's going to be because obviously it's like, will it be Skeege's team or will it be Poop's team or whatever, depending on how it all goes, however many months down the line. But But if like it was to be Skeeter's team, I mean, he brought in a lot of new players onto the roster by the end of the season, so he might even be able to get away with doing it without breaching the hijack rule. I mean, suppose he legitimately picked up Brego and Luzu, and then you got Skeege, Sam, Brego, and Luzu potentially as four like.
It's on the roster already as well, so
Yeah,
all these
like
players
in
will
theory
just-
they could do it without even breaking the rules. I mean, it really depends what those players want to do and whether like someone like Poop or Orinoco, who's currently set as leader of the team, wants to like make a claim for it as well. But in either case, they could do it without breaking the rule.
Okay. So, going back to this decision then, so they're trying to argue that, but they've used 3 mercs, right? Which, as I was saying earlier, isn't a majority of a team. You know, 3 mercs to me, having 3 players from the team and 3 mercs doesn't make it your team, and you're playing the season as a team. Like, that's what I feel about the rule in general. And like, fair enough, they just wanted to play the season out. They just got some mercs in to finish it and get that last game played because the ETF admin team were trying to make them play it on that day and all that jazz. And they played, and like, okay, last season the ETF12 defaulted a game, Seacraft versus somebody, other Seacraft versus Equilibrium, was it? Yeah, I think it was Seacrest, and they defaulted the game because of 3 mercs, and that was because one of the teams like highlighted it and talked to the admin team. Meanwhile, Punchline and the whole of Deserter were just like, "Oh, we're fine. That result stands." I just feel, I don't know. It's a really weird one here. Yeah, it's just like there's nothing in the rule book about it. It's a really hazy area in the rule book, and the admin teams had to make a decision about it. And
well, they didn't have to make a decision because there wasn't an issue. Like, they basically made a decision.
Whoa. Did I completely... Did you already say this, or did this happen very recently, that they gave the default win to Avenue in the playoff?
Like, this is the first time hearing it. Leon's just PM'd me.
What?
Yeah, like, on the match page, I'll whack it NIRC for those less privy. Yeah, basically... Sam says, "This won't happen because we probably need like 3 mercs or whatever, so please take the default win. Good luck, have fun in Prem." So that's Avenue Esports in Prem next season.
This is your fault, Greg.
Why is it my fault?
Because you're the one who couldn't play and made them get the 3rd merc, Greg. God.
I'm sorry, I told Skeege 2 weeks before that game I was working that day, so can't blame me. Just blame Skeege. There you go. So, but yeah, as I say, this like ruling has been blown out of proportion, and both sides are just taking pop shots at each other that is needless, and the ruling's been made. And I think the admin team have gone for probably the right decision.
I don't know. No one's come out with it clean, really, have they? Like the admins, Skeege, or anyone vouching for Skeege. I mean, Skeege had a point, and the admins were technically correct, but let's face it, like everyone is fucking retarded in this situation. There was no need to get involved, but then there's no need to kick up such a fucking fuss over it because those are the fucking rules after all.
I think the thing that sort of winds me up about it is like looking at like their game against Quarantine. They used Skeege, Sam, Greg, Brago, Luzu, and Mighty Me, right? To me, that's 3 mercs in a team. But because Luzu and Brago were added to the roster 24 hours beforehand, that's fine.
I've brought this up. They were unverified on the page. Okay, so they hadn't even been. It was under 24 hours. I brought it up with the admin team, and that was the only day that the 2 teams could play. So because they had gone to the admin team beforehand, said we're playing this day. That's the only day we can play. We've got some players that are unverified. Is it all right if we play? They went, yep, that's fine. But because of this other date, they've just gone and played with mercs and not given a shit. Like, that's the difference between the 2 of them, and it's a weird one. That really is. That's the same. It's 2 different. It's the same occurrence. The same thing's happened twice, but they've given 2 different decisions. So
it's the same old inconsistency issue with ETF12. Like,
yeah. Oh well. Right. We've talked about this for quite a while.
On to the interesting stuff.
Yeah, indeed. Let's get on to the much more interesting stuff, which means I don't have to rant and talk when I'm this tired as much as normal because cbear's here to do it all for me. So, in fact, I take that back completely because we've got the ETF2L playoffs to do now, don't we? I've got to keep talking for a little bit longer. So, yes.
Let's go straight into predictions. It's Punchline versus TCM. The maps are Granary, Snake Quarter, and Gullywash Decider. I'm going to go with Punchline to win straight 2-0. Sorry, Cadus.
What are the maps, sorry?
That's fine, you're only making yourself look foolish, bro.
Granary, Snake Quarter, and Gullywash Decider.
Okay. Cadis, do you mind telling me which one's your map?
Granary.
Do you know which one's your
I'm
map?
going to assume Granary. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Because I was going to say you guys didn't look that strong on Snakewater when I watched you earlier. I think it's going to be 2-1, and I think you're going to lose Snakewater and whatever the last map is.
Got it.
2-1 to Punchline, that is.
How
There you
do
go.
you think you'll do, Cadis?
2-0, 5-0, 5-0.
Okay. While we're here, I just want to point out to the people that are listening, in the season they played Snakewater and Gravel Pit, and Punchline won both maps. So maybe it's TCM's, bogey
I
team.
said on that day that it was literally a bad day for us, and since then we've literally not lost a game in ETF12. So I'm going to stand by that.
Oh, also, one thing I want to point out is that actually I might say that TCM need to win it because they're forever third. They need to get the next win and get third place. So maybe I'll back TCM just for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was
Perfect.
actually in favour of just completely sacking off the playoffs and getting down to like fixing ourselves up for I-46, like with a new scout and shit. But I think Bite's really keen on getting that third place again.
I think he's probably really keen of getting a result for his sponsors and for the TCM org, as you've tagged up mid-season. Kind of want to show off the new team to your team and sponsors and all that jazz. So it wouldn't surprise me. You guys need to focus up just to finish the season off and find out where you actually rank up at the moment as well, before you then keen it up for I-46. As for the next games, the winner of that will play against Infused, who came second, and the winner of that, Infused versus either TCM or Punchline, will play Epsilon in the grand final. So Epsilon are already there, guaranteed top 2, Infused guaranteed top 3, and that's pretty much it. What prizes are there this season? Do you guys remember? TT Sports Gear again? Is that
It's mice for third place, headsets for second place, and first place get keyboards and a dragon bag.
Dragon bags, yes.
I
Playing
just want to point
that-
out, I have one of
playing
those dragon bags. They're pretty good.
Oh yeah,
Have
they breathe fire.
They
Fly
come with a
around.
dragon costume for you to intimidate teammates and opponents. I don't know why I want to intimidate your teammates, but to intimidate opponents.
Right. So that's pretty much that. And now, let's move on to ESEA news. So for those who aren't in the know, ESEA LAN event is taking place next week on the 30th and the 1st. Is that right? Yeah, 30th and the 1st. So the 4 teams that have qualified in to get to the LAN are Leviathan Gaming, Seriously Bro, Mihai's Flow, and what's the other team again? Mix Up. Classic Mix Up.
Oh,
There you go.
This is the one
got it right.
thing we said you couldn't forget.
So I'm going to welcome right now our 2 special guests for this segment of the show. It's cbear from X Television.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. And, of course, welcoming back DJ C, standard, co-host or previous co-host.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Is
Wow,
this
you
thing
just
on?
did
Hello?
Hello. Yeah,
Don't
hello.
get the joke. It's not good. You can explain it, I guess. But what's up,
I'm not
guys?
gonna
Thanks for
explain
having.
it.
I was a previous guest too, so you could also say welcome back to me, but you didn't.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, cbear. Do you want to give us... give
Such an
everyone that's here-
inconsiderate twat, Greg.
Do you want to give everyone
What?
that's listening an intro into yourself again, just in case the people, might have forgotten that you came on the show before, like myself?
Second best TF2 player in the world currently. I used to be first, but I've been taking some time off for job stuff. I cast for EXTV. I used to cast for MGE. I don't know. That's about it. I mean,
Don't you want to
tell.
big up your team?
DJC's story is the important and entertaining one. So I guess everyone in EU knows him already or something.
Yeah, I'm an
Yeah,
ex-television caster, and
And a vanilla TF2 caster.
I often go on vanilla TV to promote the usage of marijuana by children.
That's right.
cbear, you play for an American intermediate team, don't you? Is that
Yeah, we
right?
just got. Well, we are in play. Well, we were in playoffs in IM. We call it IM there. We got eliminated. IDOC, John Carter, DJC, all the same person. He was on my team. He actually played medic at the very end for our crappy team. We got knocked out. But yeah, I was back this season playing Roamer, and it's in NATF2 we use unlocks, specifically the gunboats and the Equalizer, which weren't around when I played before, which dates how long I've been playing this stupid game, unfortunately. But roaming now in North America is basically just you go gunboats and then you find a big tall wall and then you jump off of the wall into the skybox and then kill their medic or something. And I don't like that. I like using the shotgun and like that's my phone that's gonna ring, by the way. It is. It's my ringer. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, it's
ringtone. Something about roaming.
By the way, I have a story to tell completely randomly because I just checked my Steam message and someone wants me to tell it, so I will. We needed a demo ringer one day, probably about 3 weeks ago or so. And DJC, of course, being an EU liaison, decided it would be a great idea to bring Kitus in, the best demo in Europe, the EU Banny. And he brought him in, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy? He's shit, right?" 'Cause I'm thinking that EU players are shit. We played Granary, Gollywash, and then we went Granary, and then we went into Viaduct, which I guess you guys don't play Viaduct because it's too much fun or something. So he did all right on Granary. Actually, did well on Granary. He did okay on Gollywash, and then on Viaduct. I don't remember the logs. I think DJC remembers. I think he went like 10 and 45 or something.
I think 10 is a generous estimation.
And by the way, that's 10 frags, right? It was funny because I was like, this is the best player in EU. All right, he's shit. But to be fair, it was our team's bad for one, and he had like 150 ping. And
On
the
a map
team we
that's
were
purely
playing with,
DM and scouts rushing me at 150.
that's very true.
So you're trying to back up how you got no
It was
flag,
fucking
Cadis.
awful, man. I was so fucking bad. It was unreal.
But you
Right.
had fun playing with us, but we were, getting
It was a
destroyed.
good
just like
laugh.
that much, no
Especially my
damage.
playing.
Well, why don't we talk about what you guys are here for? The ESEA playoffs, of course. How do you want to do this, cbear? Do you want to just jump in and
It's your
start
show,
talking?
Greg? We can. Why don't you can ask questions. We can do like a little rundown of the teams and sort of what we think. I don't even know what DJC thinks about his predictions. He's sort of the guy who knows everything. I just kind of do the talking. Like I'm the mouthpiece. He's the brain, sort of thing. If you're like have a big mouth.
Well, you do know what I think about Mihai's flow now, so.
That's right. Well, okay. So
After my
the top,
amazing article.
right. That will go up on. I don't know if they'll even have access to your amazing article, DJC. That was just probably the worst thing I've ever read. I felt dirty. I had to take a shower afterwards and just scrape the dirt off me after reading that garbage. Anyway, Mihali's Flow is the first seed, and they're 15-1. A lot of people think they're going to win, but they have some guys on their team that aren't really LAN proven or tested. They're both their scouts. This will be their first LAN. That is if Ruin, who is considered to be probably the second best player in TF2 right now, and North American TF2. He's third to Cadis and me, of course.
So who is he behind in American TF2?
Oh, Banny.
Banny.
Banny is
Yeah,
I
of
know
course.
that one.
Jesus. Banny is so fucking good at TF2. It literally rages John and I. Like it pisses us off how good he is. He's too good. We play with him in pugs all the time, and he's just like at a different level. But I think a lot of people think Flow are going to win, but both IDOC and I don't think Flow is going to win. So you think Bro's going to win, right, DJC?
I am cheering for Bro. I think they're going to win. I think Boomer's going to go crazy on LAN.
Are they the second seed or the third seed?
They're the second seed, I think.
All right, so why don't we stop here and go through the lineups for the teams and all that jazz of what's happened in the season for them as well. What should we work from the bottom down upwards even? So we go from the fourth seed, who are
LG, I think, right?
Leviathan Gaming are the fourth seed, but are currently listed as third due to an error in ESEA's thing.
Yes,
That should be corrected.
Oh,
Shocker.
that would never happen. So they had a pretty bad season overall. That's Quanic or the Dashers, EMG.
do you want to run through the lineup as well before you go through there?
Well, the only change they had, well, I guess the two changes, they have new medics. So their medic is Shade, the TF2 Romeo. I don't know why, but and then Pocket is still Tyrone, shitty old Tyrone, still there. And the roamer used to be Mackie, is now Dave AC, who is a very good roamer. Hello, am I still on?
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, so
all the background noise just suddenly cut out, and I thought I got
I
connected.
turned my
Like,
fan off just for you, cbear.
oh, like you see the difference? Jesus. Okay, so turn it back on. I feel like I'm alive when I hear it. Demo is Banny, best player in the world, best, including every scene in the world. Banny is so good. And then the scouts are Clockwork and Big Brown Sizer.
Well, Brown, what's his face?
I mean, they're a good team. I think they might win. They've been playing like crap online lately, but they're always better on LAN.
We watched them get absolutely demolished last night. Like, it was one of the worst games I've ever seen. It was so bad.
It looked like our team on Viaduct with Kitus ringing, basically.
It felt like I was watching a Jerry Sandusky home video last night. It was awful.
Okay.
A bunch of Euros who aren't going to get that fucking joke at all.
I'm having to Google so many things during this.
right,
have you guys
so,
heard of Jerry Sandusky? I just have to know.
No.
Has that news
no, I have
permeated?
no idea what it is.
Oh, really?
He's a college football coach who raped children.
Serially, like he was like in the
for 30 fucking
fine.
years.
I don't want to talk about Jerry.
I'd rather talk about that than the fucking land, to be honest.
Yeah. So who's the third seeded team in mix-up then?
Classic Mix-Up are the third seeded team. And they're running their old standard of Platinum. After he switched to Demo for the past season and the prior LAN, he's back on Pocket Soldier now. And he's like the greatest Pocket Soldier in the world. And then they have Smacka making his return on Demo, but he's like, I don't know, he's about as washed up as a Demo has ever looked in Invite, really. You guys remember when Byte went on holiday that one time in like 2009 and was gone for 3 months, and he came back and he was just shit forever? Yeah, that's pretty much what Smacka feels like. Byte did eventually get it back, though. He's gotten his Demo standard and played back up to a good standard, but
Byte had it.
and their scouts are Enigma and Moose still. And they brought in 2 new additions, 2 youngins. Their medic is KBK, who was the ESEA IM winning team's medic last season. And their roamer is Lansky, who people may know because he streams 12 hours a day of TF2 now to prepare for LAN.
All right.
I think I covered all 6 of them, right?
Yeah, you got all 6. Good job, bud.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through the other 2 lineups as well? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Bro is the second seed, DJC's favorite to win it. They have the golden boy of gaming, Tim Dummy Olsen on Demo. Not washed up. Very good Demo. Best DM, I think, of any of the demos. Just the game sense isn't at the weird, banny, total, like, I know everything level, get raped idiots. Scouts are YZ50. Yeah. And Oplad, the gaming legend, and the largest member of the LAN contingency here. It's awesome, though. Soldiers. Boomer is the pocket, and the roamer is... It's a little weird. I don't know how it is in the EU realm, but their roamer is actually also their primary caller in-game, and it's Blaze, who was a scout before at LAN and played probably the worst LAN of anyone ever as scout. So he's the roamer. He had a great season. A lot of people think he's the best roamer. He does that thing where he goes gunboats and jumps off the wall a little bit better than everybody else. So
I see.
I wish he could do.
I've heard about some like Dave AC rollout and stuff like that. Is it just all these rollouts coming up from the roamers just because they got gunboats?
It's a joke. I mean, it really is. Like, we had to play Granary a lot for my team. It's off topic, but it's fine. And I'm roaming, and so I'm like used to roaming back in the good old days where you run shotgun and jump and try to fight on the boxes. But we played a match against the best team in IM, and their roamer would just go ramp up the ramp thing, and then he would jump off above the garage and then go into the skybox and kill something. And I watched it happen every time. And
he wouldn't kill something. He would kill our demo man every single time ever.
And I'm watching, and I'm like, so that's what you just have to do. And I refused to do it, and then we played a match finally, and I did it, and we won easily. So it's bad. But yeah, so that's... Do they get their medic? Their medic is, of course, none other than...
Mezzer.
It is Mezzer, okay. Mezzer, who has got the best crossbow heel gun aim in the game. And that's cool, because that gun...
And the most unhittable movement that I've ever seen on a medic.
He's really good. good. He's probably better than a lot of the scouts that are going to. He's a man. Man.
Yes, that's true.
All right, you take Flo because you wrote that piece of prose.
Where do I even begin with Mihai's flow? Oh man, it's just.
Why don't you just read your article so I can go hang myself in my headphones?
Do you want to go through the lineup first as well, Rich?
I need to have a wank first. Hold on. Oh, Flo. Flo have the TF2 hero, the favorite player of every single Steam forums poster, and low-level competitive player, and most pubbers at this point, pure on Medic. They have... Who else is on that team that people know? People know Wonderwall. Wonderwall, the best roamer for the 14 seasons that TF2 has had. Still alive and still kicking.
They know Harblue because,
Yeah, Harblue. They know him because he goes and posts dumb shit on ETF12 and looks like a faggot to everyone. But Harblue is the pocket soldier and has become known as the best caller in North American TF2 these days. And then they have Soup on Demo Man, who absolutely nobody knows.
Right.
And on Scout, they have Ruin, famed land dodger and female pretender / cross-dresser. And then their other scout
You're talking about the other scout.
What the fuck?
It's like, what kind of awful joke are you going to make? Okay, sorry.
And then their other scout is Land Virgin Shrugger, former intermediate player, making the jump from a bottom IM team to the best team in Invite.
He also will be going to your I-46 LAN, where he will become not a virgin. Anyway,
regardless of who else goes.
No, he's going either way.
Yeah, he's apparently going to I-46 no matter what. He, even before the idea of Flo going to I-46, Shrugger was apparently planning to go.
Oh. Wow. That's a long trip on your own. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we talk about some of your predictions and what's going to go down at the actual event? Do you want to do a general prediction first, and then we'll go into more in depth of the routes and stuff like that? Does that sound good? Like a good plan? Who's your favorite
not at all.
team?
It's shit plan.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Jesus.
Sounds
Perfect.
Yeah. Why don't you guys just do it? I'll go take a shower. It's fine.
I haven't thought about my prediction yet, as far as who's going to win. I've been thinking about it since the start, because I realized that was probably going to be a question that you'd ask. Who do you think is going to win? I guess it's hard because usually the LAN has 3 teams that could win, 2 teams that will probably end up in finals, with a 3rd team that could if they play really well. And the 4th team is usually shit that just gets destroyed. We don't have that this year. The 4th team is probably your second favorite to make it, I would say, probably. Because it's LG, Quanic, whatever you want to call them, and they're, they've won the LAN 2 times, and they made the finals every other time. They're good. So it's hard to say that they won't. And they just beat Flo, who is the #1 team, and that's the first matchup, 1-4. So, I mean, it's tough to say that they won't beat Flo, who has basically no LAN experience in their scouts other than Harblue and Wonderwall, and Soup, I think, went once for 2 maps before he got eliminated. I guess my prediction would be Flo beats LG, but LG makes it through the losers bracket. LG versus Flo in the finals, with LG winning in a marathon of TF2. I don't know why, but that's my prediction. It's probably way off, but so yeah, I will say LG somehow comes from the 4th seed to win it all. Tyrone stands up on his chair, Valen style, and screams at the 14 people in the TF2 room that are still watching that I did it. That's the 3-peat. Pulls his pants down and moons everybody. Grabs the trophy TLR style and runs back to SoCal, never to be seen again. That's my prediction. I'm sticking to it.
Rich, go for it.
My prediction. Just getting my non-game related prediction out of the way first. I feel like there's going to be more than a few people who walk into their hotel rooms at the end of the night, at the end of a long night, just ready to go to bed, have some rest after their 8-hour marathon of TF2, and they find 2 of their teammates in a loving, gentle embrace.
Oh, God.
Specifically, I feel like this is going to be problematic for a few particular people on Leviathan Gaming. Shout out to Clockwork there. I hope you can shield your eyes, buddy. As for the actual gaming, I mean, I think Flo will probably make it to the finals. Ruin hasn't been to an ESEA LAN, but he did play at some California LAN, a few weeks ago, and he apparently did really well. He brought his wife along for some reason.
Moral support.
Yeah. Hey, don't worry. You can come with me to LAN for a weekend and just sit there and watch me play video games with my fat, nerdy friends. It's okay.
Who would do that to a woman, Cadus?
I think the other team that's going to make it to the grand finals is Seriously Bro. They have YZ50 returning to glory, and he's been, the 2 times he's gone to LAN, he's been one of the best players there. They have Mezzer, the best LAN medic. Like, Mezzer outplayed every medic at the LAN he went to. He only made one mistake, and it was like dropping to some crits he didn't know was coming. And Bro just have, like, Dummy is like cbear said earlier, his DM is just so good, it would be tough for him to not carry his team. I mean, every game that Bro win is pretty much Dummy doing 400 damage, and they destroy everyone. So yeah, I think Bro and Flo in the finals. I don't really know who's going to win that. I want Bro to win, but I'm not really going to make a prediction about that. I'm going to sit on the fence.
Let's make a prediction. Let's make a damn prediction. What's wrong with you?
Bro, we're going to win, and one of the mentally unstable people on Flo is going to off himself with a shotgun.
Is he going to have to buy the shotgun in Texas, or is he going to sneak it through the airplane security?
He's in Texas. You think it's going to be hard to find a shotgun? Like, seriously?
Like, zero have a shotgun. Like, 8 people pull one out of their, like, coats.
There's probably just a room at the hotel where it's like, come in here if you want a free shotgun.
It's true. Like,
or you could go into the fucking landfill behind the hotel and dig one out.
Free shotgun with beer. Probably what it is, you know, just goes to the bar, grab a beer. Perfect.
Yeah. Hey, DJC, we had a probably my favorite moment of last LAN, where we went through all the pictures that the ESEA was taking of people and had like a little sort of faux hate session where we were making fun of people. And one of the bets that I think we made last year was who's going to show up like really heavy, really big. It's just always somebody who does. So, DJC, do you have a prediction on who's going to show up plus 30?
Well, I know that Tyrone and Sizer have been working out a little in preparation for LAN, so I think both of them will be safe. Who else is like a candidate to show up?
What about Platinum? Didn't he used to be fat and is
Platinum
now
Platinum's plus 30. They're gonna have to reinforce his chair if he's got another 30 on him. That'd be like I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like I don't think anyone really is going to show up with some extra weight this time around. Maybe Hardblue. I mean, in the picture of Hardblue and Marissa together, he clearly had put on probably 500 beers worth of weight in his stomach. So I'm going to go with Hardblue. Stretching that red Nike shirt to its limits this time around.
All right. Well, I want to bring this back to one of the games. Like, obviously, the 2 matchups at the beginning. First 2 games is Leviathan Gaming versus Flow, Mix-Up versus Bro. I want to talk about this LG versus Flow game, just like, especially from your point of view, cbear, because you said these 2 will get to the final. There are some players on Flow that that have not been to a LAN before, namely Shrugger, and Ruin's only ever been to a LAN, but it's not ESEA, right?
Right, which is the only LAN that really matters. Like, we have other little LANs, but if the ESEA LAN's the only place where, like, 2 teams that are any good play each other. Like, these LANs is, like, they find, like, pubbers to make up, like, everybody else has, like, maybe 5 good players or something, so, I mean, that can't be understated. He hasn't been to a big LAN. He only dodged once, so...
Yeah, so basically these guys are both LAN versions that they're going to have to, like, they don't know how to step it up at LAN. They don't know what the LAN environment's going to be like, really, in any, you know, how hectic it all gets. Meanwhile, LG, you know, they've been to LAN, you know, they've been to the past 2 LANs in a row. One came second than the other, and their other players... am I right in saying Shade was the medic that played when they won before? Is that right? So
and he went as a demo once too.
Yeah, they won one LAN with Shade on medic, and then the other with Adam Reptile Dopko, the beautiful man on medic.
Gay.
Yeah, and
hey,
of course,
can we win, guys?
Sorry, guys. Dave AC was in Check 6 when they won, wasn't he? So he's already experienced it. So they have a really, really experienced LAN. Do you think that's the best time to the matchup? You know, LG. If I was in Leviathan's gaming shoes, I think I'd prefer to play Flow in their first game at the event than have to play Bro in the first game and then play Flow in the upper bracket. I'd probably prefer, you know, that first game. Do you reckon that's where maybe Flow will fall down in that first, you know, the first game of the day?
I picked them to win it, but I'm thinking it's going to be the closest of a lot of the best of 3s. I don't know. I mean, like I said, all 4 teams are pretty good. Like, you could say any of the 4 would win. I think Mix-Up's probably the outside team. but the rest of them could win it. And that match in particular, I don't even know if it's the first of the day because I don't think I'm casting the first one, so I might miss the best of the first, and that would suck. I guess maybe I'll have to cast it then. Damn it!
You gotta show up, cbear. You can't leave us hanging for 3 hours while we wait.
Well,
for
I
wanted
to get Greg in to cast one before the A team showed up. Get him in there, let him cast with some of the.
Greg can cast with Dionysius and Gets Jam and whoever else.
Nigel wants KFC. Can cast with them.
Nigel wants KFC. I'm from England and I like fish and chips.
Don't be mean to him. He's like 4.
It's like he's gotta be 16 at this point.
I admit, you people, that when I heard that name and saw him cast, I had a big smile on my face and I couldn't stop laughing. Nigel, what's KFC? What a name.
We'll make jokes about it, but we all secretly love Nigel. Like, the fact that someone that enthusiastic is trying to cast is great.
Yes, we need more of that.
It's just he has the most jokey English accent of all time. It feels like something you'd see in a bad High School Musical.
I think, moving on from poor Nigel, I think Flo's X Factor would be Shrugger, because he plays a lot of TF2, probably more than any. Banny plays a lot at TF2, but he's done the LAN thing before, so he knows how to kind of get comfortable there. Shrugger has played probably on his same desk, same, everything set up, 8 hours a day almost for the last 6 months, 7 months. I'm not like just flat out calling the guy a nerd, but that is going to be a pretty big detriment when you move to LAN and you try to find your comfort zone of sensitivity, height of your chair, everything. And I don't know if that's going to be a big deal or not. There's on my IM team, Justin White, who is a longtime top-level NA scout, and some of you may have heard of him. He thinks that's going to be a big deal. He's actually the guy that they didn't pick to join Flo, and they picked Shrugger over him. So he thinks Shrugger's now a terrible one. A little bit.
He's a bit bitter. And they went 15-1 with Shrugger. They wouldn't have touched 15-1 with Justin.
I think they probably would have. Justin's pretty good. I think if
he's no Shrugger.
If Shrugger and Ruin play as well as they did during the regular season, I think their team will be fine. Most of their work is done with the combo. Pure and Harblue, just so good. A lot of good. Wonderwall is the best roamer probably, even though that means he's the best at jumping with gunboats off the wall and the thing and killing the medic and blah blah blah. God, it's awful. I think that'll be the best of 3. I still have Flo winning, but if Flo loses, I don't think Bro or Mix-Up I don't think either of them are going to beat Flo. I think it's going to take Banny and basically Banny is the counter to Flo or any team because he's just so good. And on LAN he'll be even better. He will just destroy. I mean, that last LAN Banny was so fucking good. It was unbelievable. His damage every map was so much more than everybody else's on the map on the server. It's just like, okay, Banny, weirdo.
Yeah, it was slightly ridiculous. But like you're talking about all these teams are so close together. Normally when so closely matched. Normally when they're so closely matched, it comes down to a lot of experience in these situations. So I think So you're saying pretty much you're going to say that Shrugger has to step it up, and so do Ruin for this event. They have to match their online performances at least. Sort of thing.
Yeah, especially Shrugger, because like I said, all of the time spent without any LAN time, all the time spent in his perfect condition at his house or wherever he lives, the back of a truck or something. This perfect set, I don't know, but if he plays well, they will do fine. I think the most likely scenario will be they lose the first map, he warms up, and they win the next 2. That's my prediction, but I have no idea.
I love how the image you've given of Shrugger in this cast is like a nerd who plays 20 hours of TF2 a day and lives in the back of a truck. What the fuck?
I said I wasn't calling him a nerd, but you can make that conclusion if you play 20 hours of TF2 and live in a truck. You might.
There's something else I want to talk about. Okay, so we talked Shrugger as the person that needs to step up from Flo. Who out of the other teams? Obviously the 3 other teams. Who needs to step up? Who needs to make sure they play as well as they possibly can at this event to get them to get their team to the final, get the team to win? So do you want to go do LG first? Who's had the poor performance this season and needs to step it up?
I think Tyrone. I mean, if Tyrone, they've made it this far with Tyrone playing about the equivalent of like a mid-intermediate level pocket, I would say. Would you say that's about accurate, PJC?
Mid-intermediate? There are definitely probably like 6 pockets in IM who'd outplay him based on this season. Yeah.
But he is the anti-shrugger. He doesn't play a lot. He's only focused on making it to LAN. Doesn't care that much about day-to-day, whatever. His team is getting sick of him playing bad. Regardless, Tyrone plays better on LAN. I think he'll be able to keep up with everybody. And if that's the case, they'll do fine. I mean, like I said, the rest of the team is they've got to be used to just carrying a lot of dead weight. And so if he plays well, that's just a big bonus, and they'll be fine. What do you think for Bro? Oplad?
Probably Oplad, just because he's been the weakest link the entire time. When Greg asked me these questions as preparation a few days ago, I said Boomer because I don't think Oplad is capable of stepping up. I don't think Oplad cares enough at this point that he's going to have some amazingly good game when he gets to LAN. He's going to be about the same as he always is, for better or worse. So I think that if Bro needs to win, they need to have Boomer have some crazy weekend, which he's capable of. He's at his peak. He's right there at the top in like the top 3. And when he's not at his peak, he's more like 7th. So as long as he irons out some consistency on LAN weekend, he should be good.
Yeah, I agree. Mix-up, I think it's probably Smacka. I think we'd be in agreement there.
Yeah, definitely. There's no question. I mean, when they played Badlands, and I think it was me and Clockwork casting it, Smacka ended up in the valley on about 70 health every middle. Not as some intentionally designed rollout to like fuck with the enemy's minds. It was just he would try to make the jump to window from the drop down, like put the sticky on the floor valley thing, and then he would just miss and land directly into the valley and just kind of sit there and look confused and walk to middle and hope nobody killed him.
Is Smacker the demo who last LAN played the first set on FOV 70?
Yes.
Yeah, that wasn't last LAN.
Yeah.
That was
not last
2
LAN.
2 LANs ago.
Yeah,
He's also the one who used...
Yeah, the bit of ripped up cardboard box as a mouse pad, and he looks like a white Shrek. But he's like the best guy in the world. I love Smacka. He's also like 31, and he's the man.
He has the best TF2 stories you'll ever hear. You should have just brought him on to tell you the story about how he fucked someone in a graveyard.
No, not in a graveyard. Inside of a grave, a dug grave. Yeah.
Wow.
How does that happen?
And the way he concludes the story every time is so good. You know what the worst part about fucking someone in a grave is? You have to get out. 6 feet deep.
Brilliant. Right, so I want to talk to Cadis and Xavi now. We got your predictions. We talked about a lot of these teams. See what they think. Cadis has watched quite a lot of the season. I think Xavi's watched a fair bit of it as well. So Cadis, yeah. So Cadis, why don't you go give me your prediction as well? What's gonna go down in the event?
I think the opposite to cbear. I reckon that LG are going to take it in the first best of 3 against Flow because they will. It's like you say about the experience. They're going to already know like how to get themselves set up. Whereas I think it's going to be a bit more of like a learning curve for Flow. But then I think in the final, Flow are going to do the opposite of what cbear said. Flow will win the final despite losing the first best of 3.
Okay. Xavi, what about you?
I think partly the same as Cadis. I think LG are going to win the first one. I'm going to look pretty strong until like the less experienced teams like Flow and Bro find their LAN feet, and then I want Bro to win it, but I reckon Flow will win it. Just quality of player combined with like a few experienced players like Hardy.
Okay. I'm going to go
is...
with. Oh,
go ahead.
Go for it, Rich. Keep going, man.
Harblue is the only player with 3 LAN victories in history at the moment.
Yep.
I think that Tyrone, Banny, and Tyrone and Banny are the only ones who could even match that at this point. I think maybe Plaid actually.
Have 2.
Mackie has 2, but he'll never be playing Invite again, so...
You never know.
Well, I'm going to do my predictions now as well. I think LG will take the first set and drop Flow down to the lower bracket. And I think Flow will just about beat Mix-Up down there, but I don't think they'll find their LAN feet, honestly. I think I'm going to predict that it's going to be Bro LG in the final. And we'll have to wait and see. I probably agree with Rich probably agree with Rich and like have Bro going and winning it. But like obviously I haven't seen that much of the season, so I don't know how dominant Flow are, but like having 2 scouts that haven't really played at LAN before, compared to LG who have Sizer and Clockwork, compared to Mix-Up who have Enigma and Moose, compared to Bro, who have YZ and who's their second scout? I played, yeah. Look at the experience of all the other 6 scouts at the event, and there is nothing there at all for Flow, and I think that's gonna tell completely. So that's what I'm gonna go with. Anything more you guys want to add?
I am supposed to do a thing for I-46 because we're trying to send teams from America to I-46 to compete in TF2. That would be fun, I guess. I don't know. There is, if you want to go to the EXTV's website, which I think is extelevision.com, there is a chip in on the right side of that page, and they're trying to raise money. The slightly ambitious goal of 20,000 United States dollars may or may not happen. Although they do have about 2,000 already. I'm looking at it right now, which is more than I thought they would get. If you want to go to that and donate, I'm pretty sure, guys, we're going to get one team there. I'm pretty sure that team is going to be Flow. And I'm excited to see what that whole thing is going to be. All the best teams in Europe are going to be at I-46, right? I don't even really know. Right? Like it'll be like
still be there.
The top 4 will be there.
Whoa.
Punchline are gonna be there.
Yeah, and quarantine. So the top 6 - 1 will be there.
I think you mean the top 4 plus 7.
Okay. Anyway, please donate if you guys have any extra pounds or euros laying around. I don't know why you would in this day and age, but if you want to see the fated NA versus EU at LAN thing. Or get a chance to meet Harblue in person and get a whiff of what he really smells like.
Well, after the first LAN that Mackie and Harblue went to together, Mackie's opinion of Harblue changed dramatically, based entirely off of scent.
That's brilliant.
I've heard similar stories about people who met D2M at I-39 or whatever, actually.
Unfortunately, I didn't meet him, so...
I never spent
I gotta
time
say,
near him.
I saw a picture from... You sent me a picture, iDoc, of your red-eyed Jedi jersey at that Euro LAN.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of the North American LAN. You see pictures of the North American LAN, and you're like, oh man, that's awkward looking. Like everyone's just kind of weird. Like they're wearing like athletic shorts, even though they're all just like the opposite of athletic, and it's just creepy. And they're all sitting in front of these weird computers. But then the Euro LAN, everyone's drunk in like a big throng of people, like yelling and mooning the camera. There are actually girls in the picture, which shocked me. I think
like the ESEA LAN, like 3 weeks before the ESEA LAN starts, everyone gets all nervous and says, "Oh my god, I need to lose weight and get athletic right now. I'm going to look like a joke when I get there." And then they show up wearing athletic shorts and like socks that are pulled way too high because they don't actually know how to wear like running shoes, and like people wearing high tops and basketball sneakers and shit. It's just pathetic.
And the ESEA LAN is divided, so it's Counter-Strike and Counter-Strike Source in the same room. So you have like the Counter-Strike 1.6 guys who are like less than humans. It's like it's weird, like zoo-like people just screaming and throwing feces at each other. And they're in the side.
I don't know, you're so fucking racist, cbear.
I'm not being racist. I don't even. Whatever. Okay, fine. I'm being racist. No, but it's quite the scene. I don't know how I-46 will be, but I think it'll be fun to see like a real, like, 'cause we'll probably cast it. I'm sure we will. I think Eckstein is gonna go there live. But
I'll Salamancer and Shadow Puppet.
Yeah, that's an all-star team. Actually, that's not. It could be worse. It could be worse. But I'll be casting it somewhere else if that actually happens. It'd be cool to see like an actual like party LAN where people have. Fun, and it's not like there isn't a kid wearing a parka in Texas when it's 100 degrees
eating a bucket of ice
like with his bare hands, just like what that
and Benny doing that.
There is some stuff that's just as bad, like the club that's in Telford, right? I swear I walked past it one night, and everybody who was outside was in trackies and, a fucking running shirt. So, as you said, just literally the scabbiest club I've ever seen. Just like, nope, not going there.
Is that where your picture on Skype is taken from? You in that club? Gangsta with your green shirt over the white shirt.
Greg knows how to dress when he goes out for a party, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Who
Wear, like,
doesn't,
the
man? Come on.
corduroy zip-up sweater, whatever the fuck that thing is.
Is it an
You know the-
army shirt? Okay, wait. I was gonna ask something, but it slipped my mind. What is this? What is the worst story from EU LAN history? I want to know if it compares to ours.
I can give you the two worst easily. And I was going to say, the one thing you'll never see at ESEA LAN that is very common at the I-Series LANs, apparently, is man and woman having sex with each other, which has happened at, like, 5 LANs in the past 5 years, I think. And it coincidentally has produced 2 of the worst stories. The first awful story happened at I-43, I think? The Sparky stuff was at I-40 or I-43?
I think that was I-43 because I wasn't...
Yeah.
No, I-44 because I wasn't there. I remember
So
not being
there
there and
was
just hearing about it.
There's this girl who went to the LAN with her boyfriend, and as a little lead up to the story, before Sparky had gone to LAN, her boyfriend's name is Fake. Fake had broken up with her once before because she had slept with his teammate, Phytech, which had destroyed their roster. Then Fake accepted her back into his life because he was so in love. And then they go to the I-Series LAN 43 or whatever it was, and apparently Fake walked into a tent, and nobody's entirely clear about what was seen in there because it was just Fake, and there were multiple accounts. But it was either that he saw her kissing another guy, or that he saw her exposed to the world with the guy several knuckles deep inside of her.
What?
Yeah.
I know who the guy is,
Oh,
and apparently they were just kissing from his account. So
You would lie about it, but it sounds much
Yeah.
funnier when you say that someone's 3 knuckles deep inside of someone's vagina in a LAN tent on a dirty floor at a racetrack. But anyway, after that happened, Fake apparently slapped her, which is just such a fucking joke.
While she was
Pathetic
being
thing. Finger fuck, yeah.
With the 3 fingers still inside it, yeah.
Yeah. And he slaps her,
Guy's
and he
hand into her.
yeah, he pulls his hand out and smacks her with her own vaginal juices. But so after that happened, he went and he got a can of Coke and he poured it on the finger banger's computer and Xbox 360, which ruined both of them. And then he got banned from I-Series events for life because he destroyed someone's property. And then he made a very awkward but very insincere public apology on the ETF12 forums.
Wait,
According
okay.
to Noju, it wasn't just a can of Coke, it was a 2-liter bottle.
Wait a minute. So when you guys go to LAN, you guys like camp? Like you don't go to hotel rooms and stuff?
There's like
everybody
hotels
camps
nearby,
basically.
but
There's a little
hotel-
area set aside for you to throw down a tent and sleep on the shitty floor of the horse racing track.
So you're sleeping like on horse shit, and then okay. I mean that's okay. I mean, it's like sleeping next to Harbaloo. So
This is one of the things that people are
It's-
like complaining about why the Americans are getting so much money for like a hotel as well, because basically everyone that's going as TF2 is going to be sleeping in a tent.
There's also this thing, I'm not sure if it's at Telford, but there was this thing before called the Red Rooms, which was basically, I don't know, it was just like a room where you could just go sleep on the floor with like a sleeping bag, and it just like, by the end of the first day, it's just stunk of BO and like sweaty nerds. And you just go in there, lay in there, all you hear is like people snoring, and you can't get the smell of nerd sweat out of your nostrils.
Well, the other awful...
tell the other story, because that was good.
Yeah. The other awful story, I don't know whether I should name the names or not, like...
Name the names.
Alright, I'll name
Everyone's
the
listening
names.
on Steam, and I'll name them.
Or heard about it.
I don't
I
even know
think
the
I've
story.
heard about it, yeah, but so at I-36 or I-34, Nymphe and her boyfriend Niggles showed up to LAN, and they'd rented like a hotel room together, and they were gonna stay together in their hotel and have a lovely romantic weekend playing TF2 and whatever. And then apparently on like the second night, a few people walked past a tent and they heard... it was described to me as sounding like a dog eating food out of a wet paper bag.
Oh my god!
That Nymphe was getting... She was being given a gracious serving of dick from Firestorm. And that ended the relationship between Nymphe and Niggles, obviously.
Is that when the Nymphe and Firestorm like relationship started? Right there.
When she got deep dicked. No, this wasn't an MM land. This was in an I series. Whoever just asked that. And then a while later, Niggles like posted a suicide note on Facebook, and then went off the internet for a few months and came back like, "Oh, I'm fine. I didn't kill myself. It's okay." So that was a great story.
So the two best EU land stories center around sex, and then our best land story centers around the opposite of sex. No, it's Tyler and the land. And
the very antithesis of sex is Tyler stealing a glass trophy representing success.
Like a feeling like you never want to have sex again. Watch the whole entirety of that video that's shot by Smacka's iPhone. Tyler awkwardly laying in bed texting his mother about whatever, and they're like discussing what happened to the land trophy. I've never felt worse about my life after watching that. It's like, oh, I've hung out in Mumble with all these people. Oh my god, and then Calkin's there on the very edge of tears, like just like one mean joke would have sent him to full out bawling. It was no sex at all. The opposite. I guess though those EU stories though, God.
Well, when the NA guys come over to EU, of course, like drinking age in England is 18, so they're going to get absolutely smashed, aren't they? They're going to try and keep up with us English guys. They can't. Then can they handle beer? Can Americans handle beer? I didn't think they can they?
Well, I can, and DJC sort of can.
I fucking hammer back Bacardi 151 nightly.
I think Pure will be able to hang out and go drink for drink with you guys, but his teammates are going to have a little bit of trouble. I think Shrugger will be
Harblue took
in the bag after a few drinks.
Shrugger would pass out after like a UV lemonade, so he'd be pretty fucked. And those are like 6% alcohol max.
Smirnoff Cran, he'll be
a Smirnoff blue raspberry. But Harblue had like a drink of tequila at one of the ESEA lands and then went, "That was fucking awesome," and then threw up into his own cup and rinsed it out and then drank out of it right after.
No.
That's what you're getting, man. You're getting the best that North America has to offer.
We're going to have another Chris? Is that what we're going to have? Another wheelchair with Chris, with the Americans in instead of Chris this time?
The other follow-up Harblue story was that on that same night when Harblue was getting hammered, apparently his roommate, his roommate went over to his bed and lifted his sheet to get him out of bed and saw just a big turd sitting there. So Harblue had shit his bed.
Was he naked? How did it get from his ass to the bed?
You really want to know? You really want me to go?
I don't think it makes. I don't think that it's factual.
Hey yo, when you pull the blanket off of Harblue's bed, did you see his dick sitting right next to the turd? Yes, no.
It's a fair question. I mean, how did it?
It is.
Like a perfectly formed log of shit just right there.
At least it wasn't like a little round pile that looked like a Hershey's Kiss or something. A little tapered tip at the end.
We're getting fairly derailed. We've gone off the tracks at the moment, so... donate to the I-46 stuff, guys. Oh, go on, Rich, one more.
I-46. There was that time where Commander X threw up into someone's keyboard, where he was just fucking absolutely hammered, and the smell was apparently so brutal. The dude took his keyboard and cleaned it out, and then sold it to a Counter-Strike Source player.
Who then read on the forums about it, found out it was the keyboard that had been thrown up on, and came back to like Lofty, the guy whose keyboard it was, and asked, and Lofty managed to negotiate. Now all it was if he gives him a $5 back, it's fine. He'll have the sick keyboard.
People want me to tell the Jakai story, and I don't personally know it, but off of the details I've seen in ISE, so Jakai is like 14 or 15 years old, and he went to LAN and was underage drinking. That's naughty, guys. You shouldn't admit to that. That's illegal.
Stick to weed, kids.
Yeah, stick to marijuana. So Jakai got hammered and went to the bathroom to take a furious Guinness shit. And he never came back, and 3 hours later they found him in a toilet stall, covered in his own shit, passed out, lying upside down, apparently, which is disgusting. Oh my god.
There's a video somewhere of that, yeah.
The video's on IRC for anyone.
Yeah, they keep spamming it on IRC. And someone wants me to tell the story of the time where it's not even a story. Someone put a condom over NBC's mouse, and the built-in lubricant ruined the mouse feed, and NVC went on the forums and demanded someone admit to it and pay for replacement mouse feet, which was great.
He was so angry. He's still angry about that, you know.
Didn't he threaten to never cast TF2 again?
Yeah, he did. That was no! That's what he was using to get the person to come forward. If you don't admit that you put a condom on my mouse, I will never cast this game again. And then he never cast it anyway, so didn't really matter.
One of the was it I-43? I think it was I-43. Jen, the old Monster Munch soldier, got really drunk, and I think he was 17 at the time, so he wasn't used to drinking. Apparently, went and passed out at like 10 o'clock in a tent. Woke up, and he had pissed himself in the middle of the night. And it wasn't even his tent. He'd literally just pissed himself completely. Like, all his clothes are ruined. The tent he was in was ruined. He didn't know whose tent it was. Yeah, good times, eh?
I remember.
There was also...
Sorry,
fuck.
I want to go.
No, go on.
One time I was drunk at I-42 or something. I was going to be... Like, most people had gone home by here, and I was still up drinking for whatever reason. I don't know who I was. I'm pretty sure I was by myself at this point. I was going to throw up, but I was like, I can't throw up here. Obviously, computers around. Not going to do that again. So I threw up in someo's KFC. When I found out the next day, it was wood.
Was it Nigel's?
No, it wasn't Nigel's KFC. He doesn't want KFC anymore.
Old Nigel wants KFC. He shows up to I-Series. Oh, I can't wait to cast TF2 and enjoy my chicken. And he looks in his bag, his little box of shitty chicken covered in Commander X's spew.
I'm just passed up next to it.
Good lord. Oh, God. There was also I think this was at I-40. Apparently, Dan Anderson went into the bathroom to like take a shit and just passed out there. And they had to send someone in because it's apparently illegal to stay in the bathroom for that long or something. So they had to send in someone to pull him out of the bathroom physically to remove him because he just passed out shitting himself.
The more I think about it,
wait, it's illegal to be in the bathroom?
There's like some rule about it. They want to deter like drug use and fucking sex in the stalls. Apparently, like Dan had gone in and just passed out shitting himself, and then people complained of the stench. And the I-Series admin Tapley told a story of how someone walked into a handicap stall. It may have been Tapley himself. Walked into a bathroom and the handicap stall was just busted wide open, and someone was in there with like his legs spread, feet up against the wall, and he was tugging away at his dick.
What the fuck?
The more I think about it, the more and more ridiculous I-Series stories there are. Like, and when I think about it, I'm basically
like a
planning.
Yeah, more like
there was someone who. There's a picture of like.
Thing.
There's a picture of a door at I-39 or I-40 where you can see that someone clearly just wiped a smear of shit on the handle of one of the doors.
What is wrong with everyone?
You EU guys are fucked up, man.
These guys know how to party.
and the Americans are expected to come to this land and do well. I think no, we're used to this shit. They're not.
A bit of drunks.
Well, Hartley did shit himself. I think he'll be fine dealing with it. Yeah, I don't understand what the correlation is between drinking and shitting all over yourself. Like, I've never had that particular problem. I've never woken up like, oh man, I guess I can't drink that vodka anymore. It makes me have chronic diarrhea in my bed. Like, that's never been a particular issue for me.
I don't know. It happened one time when I was really smashed on like meth as well.
Why would you admit to that?
We're all sharing stories of when people have shit themselves.
We're all making fun of people who have shit themselves, and here comes Commander X, just proud to be part of the story. I shit myself once.
Oh dear, Zabby. Right, I think we're done with this, guys. I don't think there's much more to add about anything. I'm actually, I'm writing something at the moment about like what the Americans are gonna like have to deal with when they get to I-Series. So some of these stories might well come up in that. And do watch ESEA LAN coming up, on Saturday and Sunday this week. Do you know what time the games start? CB.
No, I think
it's supposed to start at 11 a.m. Central, I think. So
I think I'm
4
5
p.m.
hours behind you guys. I want to say.
Yeah, that's about 4 p.m. GMT.
Right. Okay. So, all right, cool. 4 or 5, something like that.
I don't even know if that's been released yet, but generally it takes forever for people to figure out how to get their things set up right and stuff. And recover from the night before of drinking and cleaning up the piles of shit that are left behind. Apparently,
there are many people messaging me right now making fun of Commander X for chiming in so happily with that story. worry, guys. I can relate to the idea of self.
It happens, guys.
I did it too.
It happens. Literally.
I heard some story about how like Commander X missed games he had once because he had just gotten so drunk that he was laying in his bed and he threw up all over himself and couldn't be bothered to get out of bed to clean it. During when we were playing Highland together.
Oh, was that where I threw up on my covers? And then I was so I woke up, you know, when you're like hungover, feeling really bad, really easy stomach. I throw up on my covers, and I'm like, that feels a lot better. I fell straight back asleep.
Yep. And didn't at any point think, let me clean this up. Let me not sleep at night.
Man, I was feeling bad for ages, and that relief of I feel fine now. I can go to sleep in my vomit-filled bed.
Let's just tell about how awful Commander X is.
Yeah, Commander X, you sound like kind of at one point, did you say you were on meth during that too? Is that what I heard?
That may have happened all the time.
It may have happened for a 3-day.
Shit just got real.
Where Commander was so fucked up on meth that nobody wanted to talk to him.
I've never experienced meth, but I guess if it makes you shit your pants, it's just another reason not to do it.
Right. Let's end this anyway, guys. So does anyone have any shout-outs other than...
No, real quick. Greg. I was wrong. It's 10 a.m. Central. So 10 a.m. plus 5, an hour earlier. Don't want to miss, because that's going to be Flow versus... Oh, it should be Flow versus LG, right? It's not actually mix-up.
I don't know which game's first. Maybe the second, third game's first before the...
They do the 1-4 and then the 2-3 and then the...
So the first game, I think, should be... You should tune into that one. I think that'll be the best one, prediction-wise.
Yeah, so do tune into the XTV guys, cbear himself, casting. And we'll try and sort something out for that first game. If you're not there, cbear, I'll be around, I'm sure. So we'll do something or other, definitely. Yep. Any other shout-outs, guys? cbear, go first.
Let's see. I know who you're going to shout out to, DJC, so I'll let you do that to our wonderful TF2 team. The Dead Hand Gang finished a whopping 6th place in ESEA, even though we're all former invite players. I guess we had a shitty DJC guy on our team. Hey, maybe we'll get him. Shout out to... I guess I should give a shout out to Big Eckstein. Yow! Got married last week. And he's in Jamaica.
And then posted on NATF2 from Jamaica.
You know you love gaming when you post the day before and the night of your wedding about TF2 and the LAN. That's powerful, moving thing. So shout out to him for being the man, giving both DJC and I a place to cast without fear of getting reprimanded for making a simple weed joke or swearing. Oh my God, oh no. It's a lot better than... and shout out to Pirate Radio. It's fun. I enjoyed the stories of debauchery and drug usage and poo everywhere, I guess. And hopefully you guys tune into the LAN this weekend. It should be one of the best, if not the best, we've had so far. So thank you very much for having me, Big Greg.
No problem at all. Rich, do you have any shout-outs?
First, shout out to Commander X for not being known for his TF2 ability, but rather for the fact that he once wore a dress with fishnet stockings and once shit himself. Shout outs to the Dead Hand Gang, of course, Big Memphis Vaughn and Arline and Ben. Big Ben. That's it.
Any shout outs?
No.
What? Zavi?
No?
Cadus has already gone.
Speaking for today.
Alright, so I'm after that one comment he's made, he's regretting it now, isn't he?
I don't think I heard a word out of Commander X until I shit myself. I don't see the problem. I'm doing it right now.
I was sitting here listening to all these stuff about good TF2 players, and like, I can't relate to this crap. This is boring. Shit yourself stories come up, and I see my opportunity.
Right, I'm going to do a couple of shout-outs. Thanks very much, guys, for coming on and giving us the lowdown on the ESEA LAN. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome event, and it's going to like showcase what can come, really, what can come to I-46, really. You know, all those teams. One of them will definitely be coming to I-46, apparently. I'm going to add an apparently there, just in case. And possibly a second one. Okay. Well, until everything's confirmed, I'm still always skeptical on that sort of thing.
What's going to be now, no matter what?
Oh yeah, of course. Shrugger, big shout out to him making his own way to the LAN. Yeah. And well, this is the one more thing. Yeah, do watch it, guys. 30th and the 1st. Check it out. And that's pretty much it, I think, from my point of view. So thank you very much for joining us. See you next week about the same sort of time.